You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live. Next, featuring intimate and in-depth interviews with Black Hollywood's next edition of stars and influencers. Black Hollywood Live. Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live, next.
Yeah. It's totally different. Wait.
I'm pretty sure I don't need any.
Okay. How are you guys doing? Welcome to another exciting episode of Next. I'm your host, Miss Perdue, joined here with my lovely, beautiful, talented co-host.
Always, my name's Megan Thomas, and I'm so glad to be back with you.
How are you?
I'm awesome. How are you?
Hot.
You shirt says new money.
Yeah.
Can I get a 5?
You got to speak it into existence. I actually have a $5 bill on me right now.
Oh, well, wonderful.
But you can't get it, but
Pass
I have
that
one on
this way. I'm going to speak that into existence.
And as our guest, we have this gentleman who, listen, young guy on the scene, doing his thing.
Yes.
IMDb credits are piling up now.
Little by little, one
You know what I'm
step at a
saying?
time, you know.
Yeah, man, we see
Right.
it. Mr. Walter Fauntleroy.
Fauntleroy. Thank you.
How
for
are
having
you?
me. Doing well, hot.
Right.
I need some of that new money too.
Right.
Hey, we always on that new money.
Right.
But yeah, man, no, good to have you here. Your day's going well?
It is, man. You know, just taking it all in stride. You know, just staying in the moment.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, let's just jump right into it then.
Let's do it.
Shall we? All right, so you were born in Philly,
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
right? But you moved around because you said was it your father was in the military?
Yeah, he was in the Air Force. So he was in the Air Force. I grew up a Air Force brat,
Right.
as you like to call us. So we traveled all over. I spent about 6-7 years back east, though. We were stationed at McGuire Air Force Base. So
Okay.
it was about 40 minutes away from Philly. Lots of family there.
Yeah.
So went back all the time.
So, you know, with doing all this traveling, what city do you officially call home?
I would say Texas. My mother's from Texas.
Okay.
She's from Dallas, Texas. My father, like I said, is from Philadelphia. So at the latter end of his career, he retired, so we could be closer to her family. So
That's nice.
I lived in Texas most
What
of my life.
part of Dallas? I just moved in there.
Agtown.
Arlington.
That's for the people. Yeah, Arlington.
Right.
You know it, right?
Which I don't understand. If the name of the town is
I know, right.
Arlington, how do you get
Agtown?
ag?
I know. It's just crazy.
I was so slow. It
I
took me
don't
like a
I'm
good
still-
2.5 years.
I'm
to get
still. I haven't caught up yet. I still
Right.
don't know. You know how you get Agtown at all.
that. Right. I
But
don't know.
there is a G in there. It begins
But
with
you
an
had
A.
the-
There's
but
a
you have
whole
the
bunch of letters before that.
R.
Ling.
But see, but all that just you're abbreviating. It's all just abbreviated. You know, throw the G in there.
Yeah.
Good old Dallas.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed. Yes,
Have you ever been to Big T's?
Big T's, Keith's Bazaar, Funky Town. They had a little swap meet out in Funky Town too. But
Right.
you know.
Right. And so Big T's is the equivalent of LA's Sloss and Swap Meet.
Right.
Oh,
Like you can get a tattoo, rims, gold teeth,
A bullet.
yes, you can get a wife beater for 10 white tees for like $3.
$5.
Right.
Go
You get
cheap,
some
you know.
chicken, some fries,
Right.
yeah, greens,
And some
it's all-
Chinese food.
yeah, all kinds of stuff.
And a whole bunch of fake Jordans with the goo.
Right,
going
And
on.
a whole
yeah.
lot of fake gold too.
Oh, that is true. And you can
Remember
get
the gold?
yes, you get a tattoo, and you can get your song rappers turned to a ringtone while you wait for your rims to get done. Yeah, that's how we do.
I feel like we need to take a field trip down to.
Megan and I, man, we right here.
We right here.
Who knew?
So, what was it growing up? What was it like growing up in different cities and then finally settling in a place like Dallas?
It was frustrating. I guess as I got older, you know, because of the high schools. You know, I went to 4 different high schools in my 4 years of high school, which wasn't good because I wanted to play ball.
Right.
I got to play 2 years overseas. But then, you know, you move across the water and it's like starting all over. It was
Right.
just like a done deal, you know. But it was cool. It was good to see a lot. Like by the time I was 16, I had already seen the world. You know, we had been
Wow.
overseas twice, you know, all over the country. You know, so it was great. I love Europe the best, though.
What places did you live overseas?
Japan, Okinawa, Japan, and Germany. We were stationed at Spain-Dalham Air Force Base, but I went to high school at Bitburg High School.
Okay,
Barren Nation.
right, that's good.
But like, is that weird though? Like taking history class, you know, because you read about all these places in the books, but then actually like going to him and be like, nah, that's not 100% correct.
Yeah, it lets you
You're
know that
tuning into
history
the Black
is
Hollywood Live
his
Network,
story. You know,
featuring
it like
news,
changes.
interviews,
You know,
and
when you're
commentary
there.
on
You
all
know,
things.
you get one thing on paper, and you know, you conceptualize it. You try to make out what it is, and you get there, and you're like, oh, okay, this is just like home, really.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's no different.
Do you-
People are people wherever you are. You
Right.
know?
Do you feel like that it was a stark difference? Because I mean, I'm an Army brat, so I know growing up, it was a lot of different cultures that I was exposed to. But then my parents settled in Kentucky, which was totally different. Did you feel like your experience was different when you went to, you know, from overseas to just living in Arlington, Texas?
Yeah, it's like before we moved to Texas, it's like I felt like I was running at a good pace, you know? And then we moved to Texas, Arlington. This is before, like, it's become what it is now. It was like running in slow motion once we got there. It was like you had a good pace, and then everything was so slow. I mean, like in Arlington, it wasn't like Dallas, so it didn't have a bus, you know, line or trains or anything like that. No. Everything is far away, too.
They had horses? What they had?
There was chickens in yards when I first moved. I mean, the biggest thing that they had, you know, was Six Flags, and then I think it was Whitewater. I think it's called like Hurricane Harbor now.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like a
it was
water
like,
park.
It
Right.
was like an antiquated kind of mindset and system that they had. Yeah, it was definitely different, you know. But I mean, it became home. You know, I got used to it.
Did you ever get made fun of, like, the little foreign black boy?
Well, you know,
or was it like, no, he's cool, like he knows stuff we don't know?
well, you know, it's a trip because like when we lived back east,
Right.
then we moved down south. It was like I had a northeastern accent. So people are like, "Where you from?"
Right.
You know, we don't talk like that around here. You know what I'm saying? And then when I went back east, you know, the cats that I knew in Philly were like, "Man, what happened to you down there?" You know, 'cause like everywhere I go, people are like, "Where are you from?" And I just tell them I'm from all over. You know, I got like a gumbo accent. Everything comes out. You know, it's everything in the pot.
That's
Yeah.
good.
It's a nice little eclectic mix, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. So at a young age, you knew that you were a natural born storyteller.
Yeah.
Right? So what age was it where you were like, I want to be an actor?
It was really early on, man. I gotta say, maybe if I'm thinking back and being real, I had to be about 4 or 5 where I just knew, you know, that this is what I wanted to do. But then you had parents that were like, you know, no one's gonna pay you for being cute or being on TV and trying to be funny, you know.
Right.
It got me a lot of butt whoopings in the process. You know? Yeah, you know. But as I got older, man, you know, I went on a path where I thought, okay, well, let me just try to, you know, do like the corporate thing, you know, or at least go that route. And it wasn't the way to go.
But who did you see when you were young where you're like, I want to do that? Like, was there someone that you watched on TV or someone?
Yeah. Eddie Murphy. I thought, man, you know, because I would love to be funny,
Right.
you know, and emulate him. But he had a special gift, you know.
Definitely does.
It was two people. It was Eddie Murphy on the comedic side and Denzel Washington on the dramatic side. I mean, those are basically the two. Bill Cosby.
Right.
Those are the 3 main people that you saw regularly on TV all the time. You know, that were like huge. I mean, like when I first saw Denzel Washington, I think I saw him in Carbon Copy.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Right.
and I was like, it was like on some, I don't even know, a local television station, and I was like, wow, that black guy, it's like he could be my big brother or something, you know. And
Right.
I was just like, wow, he's doing that. Yeah, maybe I can do that. You know, it just opened the gateway to at least dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Were your parents always against you doing it, or did they come around pretty quickly when they realized that's what you wanted to do?
Well, they've always been supportive. You know, it's just like, you know, whatever I chose to do, they were like, well, yeah, baby, you can do it. You know, and but when it came to acting and I decided to go that route, they were just like, go for it. I mean, they were all the way behind me. They were like, if you ever need any money, and I was like, no, you know, I'll just figure it out. You know, if I got to be under a bridge, you know, I just had too much pride to be like, hey, Mom, Dad, you think you can send a brother $25?
Right. So you studied at the what is it, Katie Studios in Dallas, which is an acting conservatory.
Yeah.
Was there any particular person, or was there any specific skill that helped you hone your craft as an actor?
At the school, no, because I wasn't there long. It was a 2-year program. After about a semester, I thought to myself, this is not working for me.
Why?
I just felt like not to knock anybody, I just felt like I wasn't learning.
Right.
You know, you had a lot of people that were in the industry locally, or that had, you know, done stuff back east in New York or whatever. So they were connected with a lot of influential people in the city, or in the business. But when it came to, I guess, translating that to the students, you know, it wasn't registering with me. But I did have one teacher who was a Brooklyn native out of New York, Trinity rep, named Akeem Babatunde, that really, it was something about him that made him special. And, you know, I thought, wow, you know, he's got the juice, you know what I mean? But I still left. I was just like, I'm done with this. You know, he's forcing me to work. I don't want to work as hard as he's trying to make me work. I'm going to find something else to do. I think I got into customer service after that.
Even that, you need to act.
Yeah,
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the biggest acting job you can get.
Act like you like your job.
Right. Act like you like these customers. That's funny. So, Akeem Babatunde.
Yeah.
Right? So, because he cast you in the play Blind Lemon Blues, right?
Yeah.
And so, what character did you play in that?
It was an ensemble piece.
Okay.
You know, so we played a bunch of different characters. I played T-Bone Walker, which was, you know, a real life person. But like we played a multitude of characters in the play. It's a beautiful story about the life of Blind Lemon Jefferson and his relationship with T-Bone Walker. And it was just it was the thing that really kind of opened my eyes to acting. You know, I just thought, I can't do this, you know, when I first got cast.
Right.
Because there was an actor from L.A. who he lived in Arlington, but he came out to L.A. to pursue his career, and they were like, we need somebody to understudy. Okay, we'll let this guy, you know,
Right.
just to take up some space until he comes back. And he decided not to come back last minute, and they were like, oh, we got to work with you. You know, it's like, oh, you know, like everything left over from the port. You know, I was like the chitlins. And it was like, I guess this is all we get to eat, you know. So, I can't literally, he looked at me and was just like, oh. I mean, literally. But it worked out. And, you know, I fell in love with, you know, that's when I think I first started to realize that it's a craft. There's a craft to what we do.
Right.
And it started to work on me, and I started to work on it.
That's good. Yeah. So, and because that play, because you did that off Broadway, right?
Yeah. Well, let me explain. Because we did it all over. We did it in Geneva, Switzerland. We did it in Paris. We did it in
so you were traveling too.
Yeah, we did it in different places in France a few times. When it came up to go to off Broadway, I was cast in the play, ready to go. But then I got booked in a small role. I didn't realize at the time. In The Mist, Stephen King's The Mist.
Right.
The year prior, I got booked in this film, and I turned it down. And it really hurt that I turned it down the year before for this other movie. So my heart was torn. It seemed like in my career, at least in Dallas, every time I seemed to get something else came along that looked better. The grass always looked greener, you know. So the first year I was just like, no, I'm not doing it. I know the director wants me. The director called me. He was just like, we got to have you. I was like, you know, I appreciate it. I really do, but I'm not coming. You know, so I did the play. And then the very next year it came around again with The Mist. And I thought, you know, this is Frank Darabont, you know.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, Green Mile, Shawshank Redemption. I got to do this, even if it's a bit role, something small, you know. I mean, I have to have this experience. And it was kind of bittersweet. So I dropped out last minute, right before we went to Broadway, off Broadway. And, you know, I helped get the understudy up to speed. And they went on with it.
But you still got to perform internationally, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so I'm sure that was amazing, right?
Right.
Paris, and I think was probably the best. I mean, because it felt like home. I mean, it really did. You know, it reminded me a lot of New York. You know, at least the area we were in. I think we were like in Raspal Patti or something. You know, I'm even saying it right. But it was like for those several weeks that we were there, it felt like, you know, we had our room. I went down to the cafe, had my little, you know, coffee every morning, you know. I mean, it just felt like living there. I mean, it was just a beautiful, and the people just embraced, at least in terms of coming out to see the show, they really embraced what we were doing.
Oh, that's nice.
Now, when we went out on the street, you know, they were like, you know, bloody Americans. You know, they didn't like us. You know? I mean, I think I had on baggy jeans one time. I went into this location, and they were like, we're not going to serve you. I was like, what? Your jeans are too baggy. I was like, for real? It's like that? Okay,
Right.
all right, you know. So,
wow.
yeah, it was crazy.
What was the craziest place or the most challenging part about living internationally when you were touring for the show?
I think missing home. That was probably, because you're away,
Right.
and you get so, at least for me, I'm a very family-oriented kind of guy. And so not being, and, I have a very small circle of influence. So not having that and then to be totally cut off in terms of contact.
Oh, right.
I mean, it's not like I could just jump on the phone and say, hey, what you doing? Hey, let's just roll up here, watch the game or something. You didn't have that,
Right.
And so, like, the castmates end up being your family on the road, and it was cool, but it's not like having your family and friends, So I think that was probably the most frustrating aspect of it all.
How long did you do that?
We did it for, let's see, it was off and on. So we would do it, and then like we maybe go like 6-7 weeks at a time. I know it sounds like I was so, but when you're not used to traveling, like on the road, like with a acting troupe,
Right.
it was difficult.
Right. And so then how long of a span did you do this? 6 weeks and then?
Oh, it'd be off and on just throughout the year. We would do it, and it's like we did it for. I was a part of that production for about 6 or 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did it ever get boring since it's the same stuff?
No, because it was new. Like if initially when we did it, we had David Peaston, God bless the dead. But he was in it, and then after he passed, Akeem stepped into the role, which I thought was I was like, you're a tremendous actor, Akeem, but you David Peaston can, sing.
Right, right.
I don't know how you're gonna do it. And he just put a different spin on it. And it was just, it's the blues.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it was even more magnificent, But it always felt new. It never felt like we were doing the same show.
That's good.
Yeah.
So then how did you know you were ready to move to LA?
I didn't, to be honest, to be just totally transparent, I didn't. What happened was I wasn't even thinking about coming to LA.
Yeah.
I was happy in Dallas doing my thing. I was a full-time actor, which was hard to accept initially because I was like, I'm not working.
Right.
But I'm going out auditioning all the time, and maybe I book 3 or 4 things throughout the month, and that's covering my bills.
Right.
But I'm like, I felt like, so I just didn't feel like a man, because I'm like, I didn't feel like I was working. Oh, how I wish I had that experience now. But,
Right.
the thing is, it's like, I think I did something, I was doing a play. I wanted to audition for To Kill a Mockingbird. Okay. It was a play. And last minute, a friend of mine, another actor, colleague, he called me up late at night, and he was like, hey, Walt, man, you got to come down tomorrow at the Black Academy of Arts and Letters, man. Robert Townsend going to be down there, and, he's auditioning, man. They getting this new network and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, that sounds good, man. I don't want to do the cattle call casting thing, And make a long story shorter, I decided to go. Got a monologue real quick. I think I ran up to, because I want to do something new. So I ran up to Barnes & Noble, and I found, this great monologue from this play. I don't remember the name of the play. My Children, My Africa. It's Tommy McWanna. And I was like, oh, man, this is beautiful. So I went down the next day, and everyone was down there, just running around like chickens with their heads cut off. And I got seen in the very last group. I mean, I think they brought in 25 of us. We were the very last group to be seen. And I was like, you guys, they are not going. I mean, this is like a needle in a haystack. They're going from city to city.
Right.
But I was prepared. I wanted to be prepared. I wasn't trying to be discovered. I just wanted to share what I had because I just thought it was a beautiful story from the monologue. And I walked up to the mic, and I remember walking up to the mic, and my heart, I was cool. But as soon as I started walking up to the mic, because Robert, you got to understand, Robert's sitting there, they got the cameras up and everything, and, they're saying, okay, thank you, next,
Right.
So Robert's sitting there, and he never looks up. People are performing, he never looks up. He's writing, he's doing his thing, has his glasses on, he's doing his thing. And so when I walk up, he's still just looking down, writing and doing his thing. And then all of a sudden, my heart felt like it was going to pop out of my chest, And the reason why I wanted to do it, why I decided to do it is I auditioned for Friday Night Lights, the movie.
Okay.
Like 10 months prior. And I can't remember, Peter Berg was the director. And I went in and I did well in the prelims, but when I got in front of him, he walked up to me, hey, he scoped me out, looked at me, okay. He got back to the desk, sat down. He was like, okay, go. And I thought, I was green. I had to go. I never heard that. So, I mean, I did the audition. It was horrible. I mean, if that tape ever comes out, I have to travel deny. So I wanted to, kind of vindicate myself too. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it ended up being a beautiful thing, that I put down for Robert and the group. And I thought it was nothing.
But
and
did he look up though?
He did look up.
Okay.
I mean, like midway through, I could sense he looked up and and like I didn't even get done. He was just like, "Thank you," and I was like, "Oh, okay, thank you." Tried to put the mic back on there without shaking. I didn't think anything about it,
Right.
And about it was almost a year later. I got a call from Fox, the studios, and they were like, "Hey, it's Walter Fauntleroy." I was like, "Yeah, it's Walter Fauntleroy." They're like, "Yeah, we saw the tape and stuff that Robert, when he came through. Do you have any more footage and stuff?" I was like, yeah. So then they were like, would you be interested in moving to LA and this and the other? I was like, well, I really don't. I know. I was like, well, I'm cool here. I mean, and they kept in touch with me for like 3 years.
Wow.
This is the trip that thing. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna come. So finally I decided, okay, I'm gonna come. And I came. The guy met with me, but it was almost like he was like, that carpet is gone, baby.
Right.
It was almost like they pulled that joker from under me. And they did, at least meet with me and talk with me and all that kind of good stuff. But I mean, that ship has sailed, So maybe I waited too long. But the good thing is I came.
Right.
Right.
So, build new bridges, to other opportunities.
And everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason. Absolutely.
3 years though. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a long time. I would have been like a year. I would have been like, all right, let me just do it.
Yeah.
I
just
can
to
just see you like sideways judged him a little bit. Like,
No, I
if it
understand,
was
though.
me.
Hey, listen, I could take it, man.
Because 3 years, like a lot happens in
Yeah,
3 years. I
yeah.
mean, now, granted, like you said, that they still met with them and sat down and everything too.
Right.
Because that rarely happens,
Yeah.
if ever.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
But that didn't stop you from working, huh? Because you're doing it.
Yeah, I'm one
You're
brick
doing
at a
big
time.
things.
One
Right.
brick at a time.
Right.
And I'm not. I thought like early on, I want to make it. And once I got it, that's from the outside looking in. But once I got in the game, I realized, you got to run at your own pace.
Right.
You can't look to the right or the left and think about, oh, he's moving ahead of you or they're falling behind. You just got to run your race.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's what I'm doing. I just look at it as a marathon. I mean, as long as there's breath in me, I
Right.
will persist.
Are you getting a Denzel vibe from him when you
I
look
definitely
at him?
get it.
You know what it is?
Sorry, I'm
I
sorry.
definitely get it.
I know.
I was thinking about it. I was definitely thinking about it.
Denzel, like these angles that you do.
Now we shaved, do the come on.
I can't do it, you know what it is? I think about this because I get that a lot, and I'm like, I don't see it, I don't get it, and I've gotten it since I've started acting,
Right.
and all I can think about, is how like growing up, just watching his movies, and sometimes Eddie Murphy too,
Right.
just being that sponge and absorbing all the stuff that the people you admire. You know what I'm saying? You can admire him just like he admired Sidney.
Right.
But he went on to become Denzel. It's not like he wasn't trying to become Sidney, but I'm sure Sidney influenced him, and
Right.
early on maybe he had some of those, characteristics. And only thing I can consider is that I absorbed some of that just from watching him.
Yeah.
And
Well, he
so I don't
absorbed-
even watch. I don't even like to watch his movies now. It's a trip.
Well,
I try to avoid watching them.
You definitely have because he did say his name correctly, Denzel. You definitely
Right.
do have
Oh, did I say
a.
Denzel? I meant to
No,
say-
no, because like that's how you
Right.
pronounce his
Okay,
name. So
yeah,
it's
that's
not
what I've always
Denzel,
said.
it's Denzel.
Yeah.
But because I watched a lot of interviews with him, and you have kind of his interview cadence, like you kind of
Right.
have the,
Really? Wow.
And you look like him. I'm just saying. You do.
Maybe even do a
absorbed
monologue.
his look, but that's good. That means you
That's
got the
good.
part for the Denzel Washington story, which is coming out in like another 20 years. You
at
got
least
it.
his son or something. Man.
Right.
You can play a song.
Hey, listen, as long as
Definitely.
I'm on screen, and working, that's all that matters.
That's all you
know.
need. That's all you
Right.
need.
If you all know somebody that can get it done, let's talk to them. And
You got to talk to new money right here.
New
I
money.
mean,
Set it up. Work it
all
out.
I'm
You already got
saying
the X on the hat.
Is
you know?
that he may watch the program.
He might.
Yes.
good
So
look.
we'll reach out to him and
see what we can do.
we'll see. Any project you do, I just want some type of associate producer, some type of
Right, right.
some type of something.
got it.
Just a little. So okay, because we you touched on the project The Mist.
Yeah.
Right. And so you said it was a small role, but it was essentially you said this was a Frank Darabont movie. Stephen King.
Yeah.
So, but what was that like? Like, what was that set like? What was it like being on a big movie like this?
It was incredible, man. We were down there about a month, and I mean, we worked every day, and it was. I mean, for my first experience, it was just phenomenal.
Right.
I remember. I think the thing that comes to mind right now is how heavy one day my shoulders felt just from just being on set and just standing. I think that's the thing that stands out the most, and because we did it in Shreveport, and I guess there's a pet, maybe a dog manufacturing company that makes dog food.
Oh, okay.
It was like a really bad stench in the air, which was those two things really stick out. But it was also a little stressful because I was doing the movie, and out of the blue, Denzel was doing The Great Debaters, and I got a call to audition for The Great Debaters while I was down there doing the movie. And I didn't want to do it. I was like, I can't focus on doing an audition because I'm, trying to fock on doing a film. And it's just, because we were there all day, and it's just, it was a lot. I auditioned, but it was just, it wasn't that great. But Frank was incredible. The actors in the film. I met, I think you guys spoke to Eamon Joseph. I don't know if you know. Anyway, let me move on. He was in the movie, so we worked on that film together too.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a very, very rewarding experience.
Did you learn anything specifically from being on that set and being around those?
Everything about being on set,
Yeah.
because like what you get in class, it's not, at least in film class, you don't get whole lot of the unwritten kind of rules,
Right.
Of being on set. You learn mostly about acting on camera. So it was a real learning experience just for me being on set. Like I said, it was my first major thing, and it was a big time production, and it was a wealth of influence. Just being on set with all the great actors.
Yeah, it's not a bad way to start.
Right. Did you see Stephen King a lot?
He never came down.
Really?
Nah, he said he was, but he never came.
Okay.
Does he ever go to like? any
Yeah,
of
he
those-
does.
Does
He
he?
said he was gonna come. Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
I think it'd be like a weird guy to meet though.
I think so too.
Very
Everybody
dark,
that
right?
I've heard of
Very-
met him. He's
very dark.
very Stephen King.
Right.
He's everything that you thought he was. Because you read his novels,
right.
and
Those eyes.
Yeah.
It's like,
Imagine being his mailman, like the type of mail that he gets. Okay.
probably no different than you.
No, it's probably very different.
So in 2010, you were nominated for a NAACP. Let me say that again. NAACP Theater Image Award,
Yeah.
right? Theater Award for Best Ensemble for the production, The River Niger.
Right.
How did that feel to be recognized for something that you love doing?
It almost felt numbing, because I never been nominated for anything before.
Right.
I had to like pinch myself, and it's a trip because the year prior I went to the NAACP Theater Awards with a friend of mine. They just invited me out. Like, you need to get out, because I wasn't working, I wasn't doing anything. It's my first year here, and I was at the award. I was meeting everybody, and people looking at me like, "Who is this guy?" But hey,
Right.
And then the very next year, we were there on that platform being nominated,
Right.
Wow.
and the Roby Theater, it was just a remarkable experience. It actually opened the door for me to really start getting out there in LA, so it was tremendous.
Nomination will do that to you.
Right.
Well, just doing that play, even, you know
Right.
what I mean? It was just, even if we never got nominated, doing that play, the amount of people that came out to see it, we had Margaret Avery in it, which was probably the real reason why most people came out, but Roby gets a lot of support, so it was a whole lot of people that came out and supported that play.
That's good. That's good.
Ben Guillory,
There, well, in 2001, you landed the role of Nate Hastings Jr. on The Young and the Restless.
Yeah.
So I mean, what was that like? Because we've had soap stars on here before. One thing they say is a soap shoot super
That's
quick.
what I was about to get to.
Yeah. So like going from like theater and then movies and stuff like that to where you have a couple. Well, theater might have a couple takes, but movies you have a couple takes, whatever, to really kind of get it together. This soap is like 1-2 takes and we're moving on. What was that like?
Right.
It was very intimidating, to be honest. Because, and I won't name names, I've spoken to some people that have done quite a bit of, film and television work. And they said when I got there, they were like, listen, well, I've done a lot of this. This is the hardest work I've ever done. I was like, oh, thank you for handing that to me as soon as I walked through the door. Right? You don't put that on me. And I didn't realize what it meant until I got in the game, in the action of it.
Right. Because
they have like I think it's normally 3 cameras. And no one tells you what to do. People just expect you to know. And like these lights come on the cameras. I had no idea, none. And then it's a lot of dialogue. Right. I played a doctor, so it's all these terminologies and things that that I got like 2 days before I shot. I was like, oh wow. And I think when we shot The Mist, like setting up one scene, I'm thinking maybe the shortest scene to set up was about 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
The shortest scene.
Right.
That's a quick change or something, Other than that, it's maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours between setup. I shot 4 scenes on The Young and the Restless one time, and I remember I went out at 11:40, and I was done like by 1.
Wow.
It was like 4 scenes of like major dialogue. I was like, oh,
that's quick.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, you get like a little rehearsal, and it's not even for you; it's for the cameras, and then they go. But it was very rewarding, I mean, I'm glad I had that experience. I couldn't believe the amount of people that loved Nate. I mean, my parents watched Young and the Restless growing up, so they knew who he was. I knew a little bit because they watched the show. And bring them back as me all these years later. People were reaching out to me that I didn't know. I don't even know how people got my email address. I was like, some of it was kind of like, wow, this is overwhelming. Right. Because I didn't expect it. Because it was like, boom. Just like that. It was like major. I was like, oh man, I got to get used to this. That's just to be honest, it's real.
Yeah, that's the thing, because like that show was such a staple, and it's been on for years.
Right.
And so because there's some cast members who have been on for 15, 20 plus years or whatever.
Right.
So stepping into that, you got to bring the noise.
Yeah, and it was hard. And listen, I'm gonna tell you, because I'm a struggling actor, and I worked at a restaurant at the time. And I was in the restaurant, doing my thing, and I remember being at the table, and this girl said, I said, oh, and she's like, oh my God, you're Nate, this is Nate. I was like, oh, hey, God, don't tell you, I don't want to, I was like trying to calm her down and, settle down. It's okay. Can I bring you some more bread or something, just calm down. I would get that, and my manager would be looking at me like, what's going on? I was like, oh, no, she's, she watches The Young and the Restless. Oh, well, So I was, like, looking at them like, they were like, hey, get it together. Move on, do one or the other. Because it started to become really uncomfortable, I think, for them.
Right.
The management, because it's supposed to be fine dining kind of experience. And then you have people screaming and doing these things at times. You're Nate Hayes! Like loud. I was like, yes, that's me. I am,
Let me take your order,
please. Right.
But how was that experience? Because I know a lot of times people think that, because you're on TV, that there's, and they're not exposed to the Hollywood life. They think that you're on TV, you made it. And here you are saying like, yeah, I'm on TV and I'm still working.
Yeah,
Tell us about that and how that affected your life. Did you ever get to a point where you said, you know what, I don't need this? Or were you always like, look, I'm always going to be out here hustling, doing something if I'm still trying to make my dream happen?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just a one brick at a time mentality to know that, until, you can't build a wall one brick at a time and think, okay, well, I don't need to worry about, putting in, the service that I need to put in because the rest of the house isn't built.
Right.
And I don't just want to build a room. I have big dreams, so I got a lot to build. And until that momentum starts kind of pulling me away, I'm going to, hold on to what I need to hold on to and keep building the way I want to build, as opposed to, stepping out there and then, doing it in a way that's not conducive to what's best for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because everyone's path is different.
Right.
You're going to have some people, where it looks like, hey, Walter's out there, and you're going to have somebody pass me up,
Right.
And at some point I'm going to pass somebody else up. I just want to be as genuine and as real as I can be out here and really form real relationships. You know what I mean? Not just relationships that whether they're business or personal, that are pretentious or disingenuous. I hope to form some real solid, foundation built relationships along the way. You know what I mean?
Right.
As opposed to just trying to make it by any means necessary.
And so ego hasn't gotten in the way.
Yeah, no, you can't allow it to.
Right.
I think ego has gotten in my way more like in the gym. It's just like, oh, he's lifting that. I'm gonna lift that, and I hurt myself. You know?
Right.
I mean, I still got a shoulder injury for like a year and a half ago, but because I'm a struggling actor and my insurance isn't where I need to be, I'll just work through the pain, you know. But I mean, little things like that. I just look at life, you know, not just from a show business point of view. You know, I'm looking at it in my personal life at the gym. This is teaching me. You know, don't allow your ego to get in the way, even when you start to rise where you want to go. Because when I hurt myself, I was at a point where I felt strong. You see what I'm saying? It's not like I felt weak. I was like, oh man, I'm feeling pretty strong today. I'm feeling pretty good. You know, I can do this. And it wasn't even heavy weight. You know what I mean? And just doing that, just kind of warming up, hurting myself doing the warm up, you know, it crosses over in the life. You know, so when you start to in the business, so when you start to make it, you got to realize, you know, you still got to take it easy. You know, don't look down on people. You know, be the genuine you that you are in the process, and you know everything else will work out.
Right. So you had a supporting role in Note to Self.
Yeah.
Which has Christian Keys, Latoya
Christian,
Luckett, Richard T. Jones. It's on Netflix. If you're looking
all over Netflix.
It is. It's always.
Yeah.
Does Netflix know I'm black, by the way? Because I feel like that movie and like some other cult classic
Bud
black
House
movies are
comes
always
on.
right at the top of my like things you should watch. I don't know. Anyway, so this movie, Note to Self, is quickly becoming a cult classic. Was it really fun to be in? Was it fun to make?
Yeah, it was. You know, the cast and crew over at Tridestin, I mean, they were just amazing. I think everything they're doing everything now with Christian. I mean, he's just blowing up. He's blowing up. I mean, he deserves it. I mean, he's been in the game a long time. You know, he's really starting to make his mark. But the Tridestin family as a whole were just incredible. It's just stupendous. It was just a wonderful kind of opportunity. It felt like family. You know, I mean, there was no pressure. It was a safe environment. You know, it was just fun. You know, really good opportunity.
Did you guys do any ad lib at all, or was it
all day, every day? Especially Brayley Evans. Brayley was just improv. I think maybe 85% of what she does in the film
is all
improv.
improv.
Yeah.
Oh,
or
wow.
she just, you know, or she just says, okay, this is my foundation from the lines. Now I'm gonna take it here. It was incredible. A lot of fun.
Right.
That's good. That's good. And so you play an ex-con recently released from prison in the 2013 short film Heaven. So tell us about that.
Yeah, it was a wonderful opportunity. The funny thing about it is I auditioned and I come out and the co-star, April Parker Jones, is sitting on the couch and I come out. I'm like, April, what are you doing here? She's like, Walter, are you auditioning for this? We knew each other prior, you know, to working on the film. And we ended up getting it, and it was fast because Chad, I guess, had just booked 42. He was in the process of booking it. You know, I think he had like 2 auditions. He had to go on, like for his 3rd with the producers. It was like looking really good that he was going to get it, so it had to happen. He wanted to get it done before he left. And so we had, I think, like 2 rehearsals, and then we got together and started filming. We had a lot of obstacles that kind of came up, like the hotel we wanted initially. We had already had it set up, painted it, and everything. And then last minute, the guy was like, no, you can't do it. So we had to find a whole nother location last minute. It was almost, some things we did, it was like guerrilla, you know, style shooting, you know, it was just like, let's get this and then move on real quick. But it was a wonderful experience in terms of growth as an actor because Chad really challenged both of us, in terms of what he envisioned for this piece, you know, and we shot it in 3 days, and you know, it ended up coming out really, really good.
How long is the film?
The edit that they got, the current edit they have, I think it's like 23 minutes.
Okay.
When can we watch it?
I know. I've been asking, because like B, one of the producers, she was saying after the Pan-African Film Festival, she said, okay, it's going to go to the Pan-African Film Festival, and then I'm going to just release it. I'm going to put it on iTunes or something like that, you know, tell your friends. But I guess it went to Cannes for the Cannes, I should say, for the Pan-African International Festival, and then it got nominated for an African Academy Award movie, Movie Academy Award or something. So they're over there now, handling, stuff on there. Everything's pretty much in the dark for us,
Right.
It's like a veiled kind of experience. It's like, oh wow, you're going to Cannes and you're going, and, oh wow, I'm glad I knew. So, I could have got my ticket.
Right. So you mentioned Chad, which is Chadwick Boseman, who is currently playing James Brown in the new Get On Up biopic.
Yeah.
What was it like to have a fellow actor be the director? Because I'm sure there's a different vibe when there's the person who knows exactly what you're doing that's also directing you.
Right. He's an actor's director. It's just like with Frank Darabont. He just has a different style. Like I thought that like going in, cause like maybe because I was like 32 or 48 on the
on the call sheet, right?
But we didn't have the one-on-one. He was saying, okay, guys, just, think about this, going in and stuff like. So he didn't do all that. But I noticed he did that with Thomas Jane, who was one because and he'd be really quiet. He said, okay, there's stuff like that was going on. But Chad, he would be like, every detail of the script, even going in. So we had the rehearsal. Everything he had envisioned for it, he wanted to make sure he got us to. So I think it was the first time I ever had that kind of a director, because there were things that I thought, okay, this is what I want to do with the character. He's like, this, it's like a coach,
Right.
like a track coach, like for the Olympics or something. He was just saying, no, if we can harness this here and keep it, you're going to get more momentum out of the performance doing it like this, And I was like, wow, this is a acting class and opportunity, really doing it and getting paid. So it was just incredible. I just went right back there in my mind. That's what it was. Because there was so many things. Like, I mean, there's stuff that's in the film. Spit just flying in my mind. There's stuff in the film that you don't see because they have an extended version.
Okay.
And I'm like, how come you didn't want to put that in there? I had to carry April like 27 times. I mean, there's like one scene where we're running out and I pick her up and I'm carrying her and we're going down outside in the motel, running down all the way to the street, and I get there and I'm spinning around with all this stuff, and it's cold. I don't have my shirt on. I don't have my shirt on. I just got her out of the bathtub, that was running with water, and we're going. I swear we did that take. I don't know, it had to be at least 20 times, and he didn't even use it in the film. I was like, cut that, But he knew exactly what he wanted and how he wanted it, this film to turn out.
So who do you want to work with in the future?
Everybody.
Who was on your checklist? You're like, I need to work with
You're starting
so and
five.
so.
Yeah.
Right.
I have to go back to where it all started. Eddie Murphy and Denzel Washington, of course. I would love to work with Tom Hanks. God bless the dead. I always wanted to work with Philip Seymour Hoffman. He's gone. I think Leonardo DiCaprio is a tremendous and underrated actor. I would love to work with him. And I think I want to throw a director. Oh, I was going to throw a director in there, but I thought about Meryl Streep.
You can still throw a director in there.
I would love to work with Meryl Streep, and if I could work with a director, Ron Howard.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ron's like, he's a very nice guy, too.
Yeah. Former actor, incredible director, and even Clint Eastwood. I just love the movies that the stories that they tell.
Yeah.
Right.
Beautiful stories.
Okay. So we'll get in your personal life a little bit.
Okay.
So I see this ring. Is this a wedding band?
No, this is a promise ring.
Somebody gave you a promise ring?
No, I'm being facetious.
Oh, I'm about to say, I was like, what is this going on in Hollywood 2014? Men are getting...
The tide is turned.
So are you married?
Yes, I am.
How long have you been married?
A number of years. I'd rather not get into.
Oh, okay. So how do you keep, because you're so busy with your career, how do you keep your home life and your personal life as balanced as you do with your professional life?
It's easy, home is where the heart is. It's personal. I'd rather keep that private, and because you got to have something that you can call your own at the end of the day. I believe,
Right.
The industry and just the hustle and grind of being in LA or even in New York, can cloud a lot of your decisions or judgment, or just who you are. And when you come home at night, or whenever, that's that comfort zone, that place of solitude, that place of love where you can really just let it all out. She sees the tears, she sees the frustration, she sees me when I feel like I want to quit,
Right.
and that, you know, is this worth it, you know? But she's right there in my corner saying, babe, you know, I got you. You know, you can't give up. We're going to keep going. We're going to work. You know, it's that. I don't think I could do it without her, you know? So, I mean, that's why I'm doing it. Because I probably would have quit years ago.
Really?
And then been kicking myself in the butt for quitting,
Right.
you know? But it's just, I don't think people realize, and it's whatever you do. When you're trying to build your dream, whatever it is, I think, and, you know, especially big dreams, it takes a whole lot of dedication. And it's not a me thing, it's a we thing. It really is teamwork. You know, as they say, teamwork makes the dream work. I mean, it really is. I mean, I'm sure Denzel didn't get here alone. You know what I'm saying? Pauletta was there with him all along. You know, Sam Jackson, you know, he had
his wife was really well.
Tanya Richardson, I believe, was in there.
Yeah.
You know, you don't do it alone.
Right.
You know, even if you are single, you know, there's people in your life, you know, that help elevate you.
Right,
you know?
right.
So that's my wife is everything.
There you go.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Promise Rings
The promise
/
ring.
wedding bands.
I love it.
So what is on the horizon for Walter coming up? What can we expect?
Your guess is as good as mine, you know, but I think that's the beautiful thing about this industry is you never know when it's coming.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, I'm always auditioning for stuff, you
Right.
know. It's things, you know, you see like the pilots, I was like, I audition for that, you know. But, you know, I'm supportive, you know. I believe that what's for me is for me, you know, and I'll just stay in the game, you know. I feel like if this is something that's coming to me, I feel like when I saw the movie Ali, when he was out of boxing, he still knew that he had it. He was still the greatest in his mind, but he had to wait until they said, okay, here's your boxing license back, you know.
Right.
And, you know, I'm just a champion in waiting, you know. It's just a matter of time, you know. And it's not about being, you know, feeling like I'm better than anybody else, you know, anything like that. It's, you know, in the process, I'm going to continue to work. I'm going to continue to grow. I'm going to continue to get the most out of me that I can get out of me so that when my time comes, when I'm like 97 years old and I'm on my deathbed, I say, thank you, God. I got everything out of me that you supplied me to get. I mean, I unlocked every vault, you know, and now I can come on home, you know. So there it is.
That's good.
I'm not gonna lie, I definitely saw a little Denzel.
Right.
There. That was definitely Denzel. Right
Oh,
there.
my God.
Right.
I saw my grandfather, actually, which was fast back in January.
Bless her soul.
Yes, indeed.
Well, before we get out of here, is there anything you'd like to tell your fans, and where can they find you online?
Oh, well, you can always find me at at W Fauntleroy on Twitter. I'm on Instagram at Little Lord Font. Facebook, you know, Walter Fauntleroy. And, you know, just keep your eyes, you know, in the news because you'll be seeing more of me in the near future.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Megan, where can folks find you?
As always, hit up that Twitter, that Instagram, that Facebook at Meg Scoop, like scoop of ice cream, because ice cream is yummy in my tummy.
And you guys know the drill. All of the internet. You can find me at the Nick. I'm messing it up. See?
Start over,
See?
Lou.
I'm
Start
messing it up. At the Nick Perdue. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you, Walter.
Thanks.
Thank you.
From producers Maria Menounos, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. Thank you for tuning in.
Redefined. Bye. See ya.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.
Thanks for watching Black Hollywood Live on YouTube. For more in-depth interviews and news, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion in the comment section below here. See you soon, everyone. Bye.